Let's continue talking a little bit about math in Java and things that we can do with math, at least the basic math stuff, right? Because soon we'll talk about the actual math class. There's a built-in math class in Java that does a lot of really cool things that we'll eventually like to do, but for now we got to get the basics down first. So we've seen some basic operations, right? Sum, multiply, divide. We talked about integer division, very important idea in a previous video that we saw. And we also talked a little bit about return methods, right? That you're looking at the screen right here. We've got these three return methods: sum, multiply, divide. So this video is going to kind of reinforce some of those ideas and also talk about modular arithmetic, right? Which we did way back when we did previously. We talked about modular arithmetic in the course. Right now we're going to apply that to Java. So there isn't really much to it other than talking about what it is. So let's create a new method. This one is going to let's have it return a int, just to keep things simple. And we're going to call it mod. And we're going to say again int num1 and int num2, right? Those are the two local variables that we'll be dealing with, just like we did before. So we've got these two variables, and again, this is a return method, so I have to return something. And what we're going to do is we're going to return num1 mod, that's the percent symbol, num2. Right, so modular arithmetic, refreshing ourselves from what we did before with it, is really the same idea as what it was when we did stuff before, right? So it's division, but only looking at the remainder, right? So for instance, 4 divided by 2 is 2 with remainder 0 because 2 evenly goes into 4. So there's 0 would be the result of that. If we look at something else, 5 divided by 2, 2 goes into 5 twice with a remainder of 1. So that means 5 mod 2 would be 1. Right? So maybe you should it wouldn't hurt to take a look back at your other notes and do some more practice with integer division, or modular arithmetic, I should say, remainder division, if you need to. Otherwise, we're just implementing that idea here. So we're returning that, right? So that's our modular arithmetic. So I'm going to go back now. Let's compile and make sure I have no errors. Good. And I'm going to go back to math runner. And let's see, I'm going to again say my variable equals calc object, and now we need to say mod. And like I used in the example, I said 4 divided by 2, so 4 mod was 0, right? So I should get 0 with this. So when I do that system.out.println, which again I'm going to copy from up here. There we go. And I'm going to do another one as well. And 5 divided by, or 5 mod 2, which we said should be 1. Right? So this is a good way you could practice some of your modular arithmetic skills, right? Very great idea, since that likely will come up on a future test or quiz. Oh, I ended up typing that again. I meant to just paste. I'm going to try and type and talk. So we are expecting, again, just like last time we had the sum, that was 5. We divided, and we fixed that, so it was going to give regular division and not integer division. So that's going to be 2.5, and then we've got 0 coming out of that, and we've got 1.0. Also, we'll note that this is a double. This variable is a double, so that means since my variable is a double all the way through, every single one of these is going to have a 0.0 or the decimal that's there, right? So we'll have the 2.5 and everything else will have a 0.0 at the end. If all these other three had been ints, right, which they totally could have been, then we wouldn't have that .0. But keep that in mind. It's always good to recognize when you have that extra precision. So I'm going to compile. Good. And let's run this thing and see what we've got. Okay, as expected, right? We did 2 plus 3 is 5. We did 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. We did 4 divided by 2 is 2 with a remainder of 0. And we did 5 divided by 2 is 2 as well with a remainder of 1. And that's what we're seeing there. So we can do a lot of things there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Math Fun. And I'm going to create a new one, and we're going to kind of combine all of this just to kind of see more with methods, because we cannot do enough with methods. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create something. We're going to do something that's kind of going to say wild and crazy for Java, right? Not wild and crazy, but it's something that's a little beyond what we've done already. Going to push the limits a little bit. So I'm going to have this be a string returning method. So that means a string is going to come back, and that's what we're going to print in the other class, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have, I'm going to call the method several, just because it's going to do several things. And it's going to take two numbers, num1 and num2, okay? And we're going to have this string that we're going to send back. So this is going to kind of demonstrate a couple of new ideas. So I'm creating this new string, and I'm going to say this is calling it result, and I'm going to set it equal at first to empty quotes. And what this means is that I'm creating this string, and I'm saying there's nothing in it. It's an empty string, right? Empty string. So, and we're going to put things into this string as we create, okay? Which is going to be kind of cool, I think. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go and say I'm going to teach you a new trick. We're going to say result plus equals. So what that means is it says, okay, take the result and add what I'm about to put with it, right? Get the result cup and fill it with some more of this stuff, but don't get rid of the stuff that's already in it, right? You're going to add that to it. So that means I'm going to start basically putting words at the end of this string so that we get a really cool result. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to add to it the sum of the numbers is, okay, plus, because I'm going to concatenate it, bring this all together. So the sum of the numbers is, and notice I have that space there, and now I'm going to call the method. So I'm going to say sum of num1, comma, num2. Okay? So we're saying sum of the numbers is that. I'm going to do one more, and then we're going to run it and see what happens. So now I'm going to also say result, again, plus equals. And I'm going to give myself a new line, /n. And then I'm going to say the product of the numbers. Oh, and I just realized I'm spelling numbers wrong. How sad is that? Product of the numbers is plus, and now I'm going to call my method multiply. Right? As we've talked about before, how you can call methods within methods, kind of a nice feature of Java. So there we go. Now the string is storing these two additional strings. They put them all together as one big string. Okay? And I'm going to now, at the end of this method, return result. So I'm creating this empty string. I'm putting a bunch of stuff in it, just kind of adding stuff. That's what the plus equals is shorthand for. And we're going to send that result back. Okay? And that's the several method. So compile. Oh boy. I really can't spell today, I guess. This should say multiply. Hope you guys are catching this in your video as you're watching. Good, so multiply we compiled, and we're good. And so let's go to the math runner now. And I'm going to call this method. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, this returned a string, right? So I'm going to say I need a new string here. I'm going to say this is to print, string to print. I'm going to do system.out.println, and I'm going to say to print. I'm going to print that entire variable. So let's see what's being stored in that variable. Oh my gosh, I'm falling apart here, guys. So to print calc object, we're setting that equal to calc object dot several, and I need two numbers. So why not do a couple that we're very familiar with? Let's do that 5 and 2. All right, so compile, very good, no errors. Let's see what happens now when we do this. Run that main method and look at it, and we'll see, here we go. We had all the stuff from before that we still had, and now I'm saying the sum of the numbers is 7, and the product of the numbers is 10. Let me see if I can bring up Math Fun side by side with this. Terminal window. So good. So we're looking at this, and we have our string here. We can see the sum of the numbers is, sum of the numbers is, and then we add that result. 5 plus 2 is 7. Calling another method, and the product of numbers is 10. Right? So we can create all kinds of really cool stuff using these methods. So just as in that last video, I encouraged you to kind of explore with different types of math and things that you could do. Why don't you try and do that here again and create another cool thing? We could have this, this one method end up sending back, returning all of these different things. And really what I want you to make sure you focus in on is the difference here between this method. We're sending back the string, which is why in our math runner, note that we had this string. We said string to print equals that result, right? String to print equals the result that came back from calling this object, right? Very important idea there. Very important idea there. So you want to make sure you understand what's happening there. And that's dealing with more math and basics, right? Modular arithmetic. So there we go.